What is reality? And are we fans or players in that reality? So I ask again, what is reality? Is it the litany of actions that happen around us, or is it our perception of the things happening around us? How do we perceive and process reality? Is reality something that happens to us, or are we involved in the manner that reality evolves for us? These may sound like philosophical questions, and they are. But they are also scientific questions which point us to consider how the universe we live in operates and how we comprehend the actions taking place in it. If we are only fans, then our involvement with the things happening around us is similar to our presence at a football game. We are mere observers of what is happening on the field of play. We can yell, scream, cheer, but in reality, we have no effect on what unfolds during the game. If we are players, like in a tennis tournament, for example, then we are vitally involved in what is going on. Obviously, our actions affect the game, but so does our attitude, our confidence, our level of focus, and mental acuity. So in our everyday life of work, play, study, and fellowship, are we fans or are we players? Is reality something that just flows by while we watch, or do our actions, thoughts, and opinions impact how reality evolves around us? Historically, our carnal senses have informed us that we live in a deterministic universe, and a deterministic universe means that the present completely dictates the future through fixed physical laws, while locality theory states that objects can only be influenced by their immediate surroundings, and nothing can travel faster than light. Okay, so let's unpack that just a little bit. We can impact the local environment around us by our actions and communications. But beyond that sphere of influence, future events are dictated by current conditions mediated through the laws of physics. In other words, I can tell my child to look both ways before crossing the street. But a tree down the street is going to fall over in high wind, no matter how loudly I shout at it not to. Those events are beyond my local sphere of influence. Except where locality theory holds, I am a fan. Everything in my daily life confirms the truth of what we just described. Let's go back to the very first question in this essay. What is reality? In the early 20th century, we were rudely awakened to the fact that reality is not what we just described above. In fact, it is 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Instead of living in this comfortable, predictable, deterministic universe, we live in a probabilistic, non-deterministic universe, where the future is controlled by the probabilities of future states that are available to the current state. This seemingly deterministic universe that we see around us is only an approximation to the true non-deterministic universe of the atomic and subatomic realm. In other words, at its most fundamental levels, our universe is decidedly non-deterministic. Since our carnal senses do not see the effects of subatomic non-determinacy in our everyday lives, we may think this is of no importance to us. Actually, nothing could be further from the truth. In the real non-deterministic universe, we are no longer a fan, we are actually a player. How? Well, in the world of quantum physics, which is our world, by the way, a current state has an infinite number of future states it can evolve into. The important thing to note here is that it already exists in all those states due to the property of superposition. The current state remains in that superposition of future states until one of those future states becomes the next reality. At that point, the probabilities of all the other future states go to zero. And this process repeats over and over ad infinitum. So what causes one future state to become the next reality? Well, one mechanism is for a human to make an observation or measurement on that superposition of states. The act of measurement causes the collapse of the superposition and the selection of one state as the next reality. What this means is our conscious thoughts are intimately involved in the creation of the reality we live in. We are not passive observers of reality, in other words, fans. No, we are creators of reality. We're players. This groundbreaking realization from quantum physics was brilliantly illustrated in 1935 by Erwin Schrödinger in a thought experiment called Schrödinger's cat. His experiment involved a cat in a box with a bottle of poison. Now, in the video version of this presentation, which is on YouTube and Rumble, you'll see an illustration of Schrödinger's cat, and in the written version on Substack, you'll also see that illustration of Schrödinger's cat. Anyway, the cat is in a box filled with radioactive material. The radioactive material in the box has a 50% chance of decaying within 1 hour of closing the cat in the box. If it decays, it releases the poison and the cat dies. After 1 hour, we can open the box to observe the state of the cat in the box. Now, until we open the box, there is a 50% chance of the cat being alive and a 50% chance of the cat being dead. In the subatomic world governed by quantum physics, the cat exists in both the dead and alive states simultaneously in superposition. Only when we open the box to observe the cat does the superposition collapse into one of the two available states, dead or alive. The point is, our observation is what creates the next reality for the cat. We are a player in this drama, not just a fan. So now, as you go through your day today, pay careful attention to the things you encounter along the way. Are you merely an observer or a fan to all these things? Or do you get the sense that you might be a player? It's kind of hard to unsee this once you've read this essay.